The launch of the Poco F4 has essentially taken the Poco brand to new heights, and thanks to the impressive hardware that's built into the new phone like the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset, trigger buttons, fast charging, and AMOLED screen to name a few, it's certainly a great contender when it comes to bang for your buck smartphones. On the other hand though, it is a bit expensive, coming in at around $500 to $600, and with that said, you might be looking for a more affordable option that still falls under Poco branded territory. This is where a phone like the Poco F3 comes in. But is it worth getting in 2022? Let's take a look. Now, despite launching a year earlier, I'd like to think that the Poco F3 still manages to strike a nice balance when it comes to price and performance. And today we're going to do a quick revisit of the phone and its features and see if it's something that's still worth your cash in this day and age. Now, if you guys are interested in checking out this phone, I will drop some links in the description below, as well as links to some of our other videos here on TeamVRY. With all that said, let's get started. Alright, so let's start off with the design. The Poco F3 resembles a lot of other smartphones these days. You get slim bezels, a hole punch camera on the display, and it even features Gorilla Glass on both the front and back with a matte frame that goes around the edge of the device, where you'll find the side-mounted fingerprint sensor. Despite the glossy look, it does feel solid overall, and it even comes with an IP53 rating. Now, this is definitely a different look compared to what Poco has done with the Poco F4, especially with the aluminum unibody and the additional trigger buttons on that device. Despite some differences in design though, I really like what Poco has done with its phone. It really does have a premium look to it, although I'd say that the glossy back is really prone to fingerprints and smudges, and if you're particular about the design on your smartphone, then this is something to take note of, although the issue is of course rendered moot if you put cases on your phones. Now on the front is the 6.67-inch AMOLED display, and it's pretty sharp with a 1080 by 2400 pixel resolution and a maximum brightness of 1300 nits. It also comes with a 120Hz refresh rate, and using it overall was a smooth and fluid experience. It does revert to a static 60Hz refresh rate, which is a nice way to conserve battery. Alright, so moving on, let's talk about the internal specs and performance. The Poco F3 comes with Qualcomm's Snapdragon 870 5G chipset, and you can get the phone either with 6 or 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, or 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of internal storage. Now, while the Snapdragon 870 is an older chip, it isn't a bad one either. Gaming in general was a breeze on the Poco F3. Graphically intensive games like Trials of Mana, for example, ran well on the phone. One thing to keep in mind though is that the Poco F3 does get a bit warm during gameplay, but that's pretty much to be expected on most smartphones anyway. Now, I did notice that there was a bit of lag sometimes while navigating the user interface, and I suspect that this is mostly due to MIUI, which does add a lot of proprietary apps and visual customization. Now, if you are after a phone with a more stock Android feel, then MIUI is definitely not for you. On the other hand though, if all you're after is the Snapdragon 870 chipset inside this handset, then you'll definitely be able to game on the Poco F3. Alright, so before we go any further, if you like this type of content and you're not subscribed, now is a great time to do so. I do upload weekly, so there's a lot of fresh content coming your way. Now, battery life was alright, and the fast charging feature can fully charge the phone in around 30 minutes or so. It should be said that if you're going to be playing a lot on this phone, then a 4500 mAh battery might need a bit more frequent charging, maybe at least one more charge throughout the day. Alright, so performance aside, let's talk about the camera. The back of the phone has a triple camera setup with a 48 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide lens, and a 5 megapixel macro lens. The hole punch in front houses a 20 megapixel selfie camera, which should be more than enough to get decent quality on video calls and whatnot. The cameras have decent quality and dynamic range was mostly on point, and while video quality wasn't anything extraordinary, video stabilization was impressive and worked nicely. Now, to sum things up, you do get a nice screen, a fast processor, impressive fast charging, and a sleek and modern design with the Poco F3. Now, if you really are after more power, then you'll have to spend a bit more to get the newer Poco device. Unfortunately, there are some hardware omissions on this phone. There's no headphone jack and no microSD card slot on this device. You do miss out on some stuff like the aluminum build and the trigger buttons and the faster Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset on the Poco F4. In my opinion, if you do want to go for what's best for your wallet, then this phone is one serious consideration. You can get the Poco F3 for around $400 in the US or £329 if you are in the UK, which is obviously cheaper compared to the newer Poco F4. The Poco F3 does occasionally go on sale, and you can grab it at a cheaper price. And given that most high-performance Android phones go for £500 and more, then this is definitely one serious consideration if you want to spend less. Now guys, we do have a lot more videos here on TeamVRY. If you want to check them out, I will drop some links in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.